Who is this mysterious Mang 69? Let's find out. We've actually found out on many occasions. This is, of course, a very frequent submitter to our viewer level stream, as well as a contributor to the recent 6YMM. And we're going to play a sequel to one of the levels we had recently seen, Level Creme. This is Level Cremer, which promises fun platforming with the family. Let's play. Okay, same idea that we've seen before. Yellow pipes everywhere and a time limit that is going to be a little more generous than the last one. Maybe. We don't actually know how tight it's going to be. But as you can see, we're going to take a squish to death right away. St. Lantis is not just a cursed stream title, it is of course a very accurate one as well. These things of course are not mutually exclusive. And welcome to Mangy, what a suspicious character to have arrived here today. The 10 coin seems like it is kind of deliberately out of reach. I don't actually see a way... Oh, maybe if you got the right kind of bounce off this, but that seems awfully tricky. Probably not actually doable. It's something I can assume is a form of bait. And yes, St. Lantis, can you believe it's been 69 years already? Check this, of course. 10 coins look like bait. Oh, okay. Should have thought about that. That holding right into that column would get me into a world of trouble right away. I should not just run straight through the second one there. I do need to adjust my speed slightly, I think. There we go. The level is laughing at me already. And once again, let's not hold right going into that column. Okay. Yes, it does bounce you, and something I should be aware of as I plan to try to get around that by going up to the claw, perhaps. We'll have to see. As with the predecessor to this level, which was on the original, I eventually find a more reliable route. This somewhat works. And the Flying Muncher might give me a little bit of trouble. We'll have to time around that somehow, and of course we'll have to see just how relaxed the timer is going to be. I should have, in fact, checked the current world record, 1:16. That's going to be about 76 seconds, which on a 90-second limit is actually going to be fairly generous. There is going to be room for some mistakes, probably not many, but just enough that we'll be left wondering just whether the current method is going to be on pace, without any additional momentum trickery. That's going to project me forward with time. I should stop bumping into that. Let's fix this up somehow. Whoops. Here we go. Going to avoid the squish. Going through the bottom might be better, actually, given the way the platform goes. Not the bottom on this column, of course, but on the next one after that. So we'll see. Oh, okay. No, never mind. I completely misread what I was going for. Okay, we'll not hold right, and we did accidentally on my way down because I thought I was going to be able to enter that middle row. Yeah, just trying to find a better method for the start, in fact. I am trying to slow down a little bit going into the first trampoline, but hard to do that with a dead stop. And we'll gradually see what our benchmarks are for the ideal time going out of the early segments. Whoops. No, not a great idea. Let's just push forward and try to learn more obstacles as we go. Yeah, as I get bumped to the left, I do have to let up a little bit on the button, but it's very easy to miss that in a way. Well, got through the first two very cleanly. That's not going to be enough, though, apparently. Okay. Up you go. And back down. Yeah, it is possible to go under that pipe, and perhaps it's going to be more efficient to do. Okay. Bad move there. Of course, it depends on the height of the trampoline that you jump on in that segment. And Aaron, welcome. Welcome back. Hope you're doing well. Oop. Now let's move on. Yeah, faster to go up top to get the 10 coin, but of course, much more risky. Nope, still trying to slow down into that, and that's not quite going, but at least it aligns better with the horizontal trampolines that come immediately after. Oh, didn't expect that one to get tossed. I guess that must have been just a quirk of dropping it on off that claw, but I wasn't really paying attention to what went on there. And Spirit Wolf, welcome. Yeah, if you have the method where you go under that pipe with a better timing, then the platform is going to be much more conveniently placed. Like this. That seems to be a much better method. Losing a little bit of time here, but we don't know how tight anything is going to be, so we'll just get squished. Spirit Wolf, everything is going just well over here. I mean, we just got started, so hopefully this will be a fairly smooth running stream, so let's see how many we can get through today. Yeah, I've played, I think, about half the levels on this current profile. I'm behind by about 4 levels, I think, including, or rather not including, some of the levels I want to return to for hard mode routes that I had missed previously, like in the Goomba Fountain level that we spent far too much time on during viewer levels in previous sessions. Now let's try to make it through. Whoops. Love how it's marked as puzzle solving in music. One of these we can definitely get behind. Music, well, there are note blocks to bounce on. I suppose that counts. We haven't really been hitting those. Atlantis, yes, it appears you can get crushed by those, especially if they are on those sideways tracks or if they are bumping into each other. It's not necessarily intuitive because of the way that usually you just kind of enter springs or squish against them. But they do, in fact, have a way to crush you against the wall. Like, not in the vertical direction, I don't think. But horizontally, yes. Or, well, I mean, in this orientation, rather, with the sideways spring orientation. Let's wait for the muncher. It's probably... They should have taken advantage of the platform to the left there, since it was actually well positioned for getting underneath the muncher. Look at that slot there with the broken pipe, just perfectly placed to create that crush precisely. Okay, let's go back, down, and we'll go over this time. Yeah, it didn't quite account for that. I was still adjusting a little bit. Had donut blocks. Okay. Close call there, but we made it. There's always a bit of a tricky jump there, but we'll wait over here. I don't know if I'll be losing too much time, but it's a tricky landing. Maybe I can go directly from the pipe. And let me know if the sound is okay, by the way. I don't know if my mic volume is actually correctly tuned today. It might not be. So if you have any issues with volume or distortion or anything else with the sound, do let me know accordingly. And we'll try to get that fixed up. Now, let's see here. And yeah, we'll just try to get this adjusted bit by bit. I do think the 10 coin at the beginning is probably just beta. I don't quite know. And Spirit Wolf, yeah, glad to know that audio is sounding okay on your end. We haven't been having as many issues lately with the game sounds themselves. They've been cutting out much less than they used to, due to some fixes that I made on my end. Look at that, everything gets displaced slowly. We are way behind pace at this point. Oddly enough, that allows me to grab a 10 coin in ways that I normally would not be able to. Nope. Possible to go along the bottom, in fact, and just sneak around on the lower donut block, unless, of course, you get bumped by one of the flying trampolines. The pacing on my end, of course, was pretty slow that time, so wasn't really counting on that being the attempt by any measure. Oh, playing it like a music level. And yeah, just need a better estimate sometimes of whether I am in fact going to successfully get into that 2-tile gap where the tracks begin. It's underneath that pipe, simply because I'm miscalculating whether I'm going to enter the opening in that row accordingly. So let's try to do this a little better. Okay, that worked, surprisingly. I probably shouldn't wait all the way for this one, but the timing does work out, so... It does feel like I'm losing far too much time there, though. Okay, I almost managed to correct my way out of that, and that's about the 50-second mark. I feel like we've lost quite a bit of time at that point. Although, of course, I don't know how tight the current world record is, given that it has shaved 14 seconds off of the final time limit. Okay. Gradually improving at this, I hope. Let's not hold that jump too high there. Trying to get into a place of safety here, and eventually we did in fact get crushed. Some of the previous ones had bumped me safely out of the way, but not that time. Yeah, it does take a little bit of an adjustment to get up to that 10 coin, of course. Once again, we'll do the weighting method here, just to be extra cautious. Oh, there we go. I missed my opportunity, unfortunately. Took a little bit too long to get off of the end of that row, but that's a new record there. And I don't know how decently we're doing on time, but it certainly felt like I wasn't set back too much by the segment with all of the flying springs. Whoops. I mean, that, I guess, isn't a very specific way of describing anything in this level, because there are segments with flying springs all over the place. That time, the scroll timing, in terms of spawning the bottom moving platform and the muncher, were misaligned a little bit. The timing didn't... But we'll try to make some corrections. Yeah. Had a pretty deep run, though, on that attempt. So I'm fairly satisfied with it. Let's wait for the next one. And let's wait over here. Yeah, trying to jump immediately down there is still an angle that I think is doable, but difficult. It's clearly doable. Okay. Down here. Yeah, I missed that opportunity. Okay, just like that. Nope, bad idea to jump over there. I should have just dropped, in fact. I was in a fairly good position there. I didn't get a chance to look at the clock to see how I was doing, but that certainly felt ahead of the previous pace. Also, saving some time using a new path over there, dropping immediately down since I saw the opportunity to do so on the bottom platform. Also, important thing to note is that you can, in fact, jump using the spring directly up to the pipe all the way. We had demonstrated that previously. And that's going to be a little bit of a time saver if that ends up mattering somehow. But of course we will need to be a bit more careful about actually getting up there through this central row. Yeah, I'm still at this point accustomed to going through the top route there. I do like how flexible the routes can be in terms of giving me a fair number of choices to work with in terms of which pathway I want to take at any given time. That was not so convenient. The previous time there I had landed right on top of that donut block, but the audience with the cheer sound actually does obstruct that a bit. That's one thing that's slightly in the way of my visibility and which we have to keep in mind. Oh, just a little bit out of line there. Okay. Well, that worked out surprisingly well. Nope. And that was that attempt squandered. I could have done just as well by taking the lower platform. Yeah, losing a little bit of time there, but we're going to get back here a little more cleanly. Nope, I cannot take the high bounce off of the top trampoline. I think I knew that. It is possible to take the bottom route there too, of course, if I really want to chance it with the donut block that's on the bottom track. But we'll have to get back there and try it. Okay, that worked out rather better than I expected. Well, almost salvaged that, but not quite. Nugu Kaza, this is not even the first example of its kind. It is the sequel to a Mang level of some notoriety. And the level design, as you can see, is very deliberate. Very well calculated. I nearly managed to save that on the bottom donut block. Not quite, though. Could have done perhaps just a little bit better. And yeah, I've made that mistake many times already. Okay, here we are. Nope. Haven't done that in a while, though. Okay, up we go. The offset pipe is something you don't see all that often. Yeah, and it's, as you can see, a very deliberate obstacle there in terms of acting as the slot where you're going to get crushed if you're not careful. It's like a network error. It's a broken pipe. Okay. Still missing that slightly. Yeah, I have played that part cleaner before, but if we can get through it, I will take it. Oops, I guess we'll have to go the long way through here. Nope, bounced a little too far there. And Nugu Kaza, they really do kind of have the feel of an anti-soft lock in the troll level, except of course you're not really being reset to a location and being trapped, but in terms of the style of obstacle and seeing your own plans being thwarted by bounce momentum taking you everywhere. Yes, it really does have that feeling. Okay, we'll have to wait for the next cycle here. And yeah, as long as we don't take the uppermost one in that stack, we should generally be okay. Oh, no. Missed that. I was trying to time my landing accurately. And then after that, we just have to go. That was 59 seconds in that attempt. We had lost a fair bit of time, of course. And so we'll see just how much is left after that. In terms of whether timer trouble is going to be a legitimate risk once we get to the end. There are a few things I'm doing somewhat efficiently sometimes when the attempts go well, but we'll have to make a few adjustments. And yeah, just a little off-center there. I really do need to land right on top of that left side line. And generally that should be safe, as we've discovered through many previous attempts. Or you can just go directly on top. That would work surprisingly well. Oh, got bounced from below. That's not quite what I hoped for. And actually, just going directly left is going to be faster on a more reliable basis. Nope. You hear popping my audio occasionally. Yeah, I am going to check my mic quickly. I don't know if it's the... Yeah, it is the mic. I will fix this. Just one moment. Okay, we are hopefully back. Whoops. Not time for Shakespeare just yet, but just pulled up the wrong screen. Anyway, let's get back into it. Yeah, the mic should sound a little bit better now, I hope. I was asking about it earlier and people weren't reporting problems, but perhaps you got a cleaner picture of my audio than what we had been presenting over the course of the last 20 minutes. Yeah, for some reason my sound check didn't catch that today, but do let me know if it is fixed. I think it looks fixed on my end. I was a little worried about that with the mic volume earlier. Okay, one moment. Let's get in here. We'll wait for the next cycle on the muncher. And yeah, that is a crush location. That donut block is a bit of a trap. Unless you get out of there quickly. Down we go. Whoops. Almost made a disaster out of that. Okay. And yeah, still not controlling my landing well out of there. We've only gotten past that donut block once. Theoremon, this is not the crazy bus level. This is level Kremer. It is the sequel to a level that we had received on viewer levels not long ago. But the maker code, of course, for mang69 is in my stream title today. So, Theoremon, hope you've been doing well on your end as well, and that your monkey's power-up level has been seeing more interesting playthroughs on video. Okay, let's get up here. And yeah, there's quite a lot of finesse to the design here, in fact. Much more than it might look at first glance. Okay, let's wait for the next one. Nope. Hit the wrong one. And yeah, Theoremon, I think the concept behind the monkey's power-up level, of course, as with Pac-Man's Goomba Hat level, naturally lends itself to a ton of variety in terms of playthroughs, just depending on where people are taking a hit, or in your case, taking a power-up. Now let's wait for this cycle here. Let's not go too far. Nope. I think if we get bounced forward like that, I really do have to pull back aggressively. Just to get on that one-way panel as soon as I can. Green Star, welcome. Okay. Nope. That is at least happening less and less. Okay. That entire opening could have gone better, of course. I am still wondering about the possibility of bouncing back to that 10 coin at the very start. I do think it's a bit of bait, but whether we would be able to obtain that and still survive the timer, even with a very clean run, I think is an open question. Okay. Up we go. And yeah, we should have been able to get under that muncher cleanly if I wanted to chance it, but we'd rather play it safe until we know how we're doing on a timer. Okay, there we go. That's the new record. Hitting the muncher does what? I feel like I need that in the off state in order to raise those blocks that we see later that will get me under the spikes that are to the right side of the pipes. And so we just need to make sure I get one clean hit on the on-off switch before immediately leaving that area, so I don't get trapped the way I just did. Yeah, it gets a bit chaotic if you leave this too long, of course. I feel like this is going to be a dead attempt. Would have been fun to try to salvage that, but I feel like we've done much better before, so... Give it the potential for timer trouble. Maybe it's better not to play around that too much. You can, yeah, just take a full jump up to that 10 coin here. And just go full forward. And it actually works out surprisingly well. Okay, 70 seconds in this area here. Could be going a lot better, of course, but... I somehow foresaw that might be trouble, just given that I lost too much momentum with the trampolines working the way they did that time on the horizontal rows. Loading their way over. Luca, welcome. Luca, I saw that you've actually captured most of the records on Mang's earlier levels at this point. Particularly the ones from 2019. I think I saw that you have the world record on nearly all of them now. So congratulations on that. I don't think I'll be competing for that anytime soon. Okay, a little behind pace here, under 70 seconds. A little behind my best pace, rather. Nope, I do need to plan that a bit better. Still haven't found a good method to get over to Muncher consistently just yet. We've just done it that one time. What do you mean, aw? That's not an aw. It should be retagged with art? Well, it's puzzle solving and music, and I think it's certainly been a musical extravaganza. And Dirkbach, welcome. Hope you've been doing well. And up we go. Nope, bad idea. At least we survived. Oh, very close there. That almost worked out. And we're going to get laughed at. Yeah, my understanding, Luca, is that a lot of Mang's early creations from that era in 2019 have actually already been deleted. Before this account started up, of course, just to make room, because even back during 4YMM, that former account was already pretty close to cap. So I don't know if much of that will eventually be remade, because I didn't get around to too many of the older ones. I think I have a few clears from back then, but don't know just how much has been cleared away to make room. And, oh, up we go. Okay, up we go again. And, oh, okay, sure, we can do that. That doesn't really get me anything. There's not enough space to work with there, but, oh, that's pretty much going to trap me, though. Yeah, Ethereumon, I don't even know if I remember the one that was based on the title screen levels. It's funny because as much as people make fun of people they encounter on a new tab or an endless who just clearly uploaded the title screen levels with 1 or 2 modifications. It took me a long time to even recognize them because for so long after the game came out, I almost never restarted the game rather than just suspending the system. Because there were long stretches, particularly in 2019 when, well, basically before Animal Crossing came out, when I didn't necessarily have any reason to switch back and forth out of Mario Maker. I mean, I was playing Fire Emblem for a time as well, but the thing is, you just play Fire Emblem in one gigantic 100-hour chunk, and then it's back to Mario Maker. And so I didn't even see the title screen levels for the longest time, and I still don't recognize too many of them, in fact. Okay. There we go. Now let's get one clean hit over here. And take this very carefully. 49 seconds in this spot over here. And I've been trapped. I think that is going to be death, unfortunately. Unless I can despawn anything? Nope. I can actually maybe go back here and try to drop it once. But 30 seconds left, I think that's not going to go. Let's see if we can salvage this. I want to leave here with the off switch. I want to despawn everything. Oh, almost. At this point, though, I'm definitely quite trapped. Anyway, here's Boom Boom segment. 5 seconds to go to see what this is all about. 1 second. And there's checkpoint. So I guess with the checkpoint, the 80-second or 90-second limit doesn't actually matter too much. Hey, we now know how close we are. We've actually got lots of time. I lost tons of time there just trying to explore that whole segment and salvage the attempt with the on-off switch, so I knew that wasn't going to really be clear, but progress is progress. And welcome, Donkeyman. I don't know if I just said that, but yeah, I guess the music force is just mostly there to get the music to be a little faster then. Even though we did die to timeout just now, so can't really just crash against any of these segments indefinitely. Dirkbog, guess your former identity. Yeah, I've been trying to puzzle that out as well. I think I know, but I will need to think about that for a moment. Part of the... well... It's at the back of my mind. Because I was thinking that, and it was... I know you're a returnee that I'm familiar with, and also an active sub. Which narrows it down considerably. And yes, indeed, Green Star. Much of the crew is witnessing this art piece and learning all kinds of lessons about level design and modernist aesthetics. Whoops. You have to wonder if the laughing sound was Nintendo being conscious that troll levels were going to happen. Oh, yes, very much so. I mean, I remember seeing them pop up pretty much right away, day one, in Mario Maker 1, with the, well, invisible block cliche that is just all over the place in the much better developed troll genre these days, but Anyway, let's move on up here, and let's just wait for another thing to come along and get me all the way over. So, this segment, we can manage it if I'm a little more careful about reacting when I am bounced. Okay. Let's try to make this happen. And Sninjar, welcome. Okay. Yeah, Sninjar, I don't know if you've seen very many other playthroughs of the Yoshi Desert Puzzle since we played it the other day, but I hope that's been going well if you've managed to get that to anybody else. You remember not being able to beat this? Yeah, I was about a second away from checkpoint 1 and I timed out. But that's why we have a dedicated stream for these today, just in case things go the way they've been going. Actually, I've been progressing rather well here, I think. I'm not disappointed with the pace so far in terms of exploring this level, and yeah, the timer is definitely not tight. Even with a single segment run, in fact, 90 seconds is more than enough. As you can see, it's a 76-second record right now, and there is a checkpoint in the middle, so the music is mostly there to make the music fast. And of course, set a time limit per segment, which we did in fact have trouble with. Because, like I said, I timed out a few steps away from the checkpoint when I saw the flag for the first time. And that's as far as we've gotten so far. That was almost right. We just fell right into the glitch zone there. Really licking that cartridge. Not quite. And up we go. And down we are. There we go. Okay. Whoops. Didn't expect that to slip there. Probably because I didn't expect to run across that gap as smoothly as I did. The donut gap worked out rather better than I was even hoping for. Whoops. And yeah, Dirkbach, I know exactly who you are. I'm just trying to remember your previous name. Like, I had trouble placing it. Because I was trying to remember the previous handle. Like, the number was a bit of a giveaway, I think. But or was it? Maybe not. Anyway. And yes, that's right, that's right. Just had a bit of trouble searching my memory while having it glitching out on this level the whole time, so. Now let's try to make this happen a little bit more cleanly. Yeah, we've had a couple people here change handles lately, so I've had to track a few changes along the way, including, of course, the maker of this level, formerly known as Der Yogurt Hose, and who has now shed her yogurt pants like a butterfly leaving its cocoon. It's Yogurt Cocoon. Oops. Okay, there we go. That went smoother than expected. That's okay. Time savings are going to be quite welcome here if we can actually preserve them. It's funny because I'm looking at that one pipe that's pointing out on top of, well, to the right, on top of all those donut blocks that are stacked in front of it, and thinking, technically, one could try to enter that, whereas most pipes here are clearly not going to be accessible. But no, I don't think we're going to have any cheap shortcuts through here. Not today. Whoops. Okay. That's the sign that you're taking too long when that spring starts to bounce up and give you trouble. Okay, overshooting slightly this time. That worked surprisingly well. Next cycle. Yeah. But the timer was relaxed enough for me to spend a great deal of time resetting the whole on-off switch segment and doing it twice. And so, I don't feel rushed at all now, actually, for all of this material up to checkpoint. Obviously, I do want to buy enough time to give myself a bit of a buffer on some of the segments that do set your progress back slightly, but yeah, bottom road is probably still safer there, but I'm just so used to going top at this point. Like right here, so used to going up top. And it usually works out quite well. Just need to plan accordingly. Sometimes I slip right through the middle. And yeah, Theoremon, this is actually very precisely calculated. In terms of the platforming design, it's just the aesthetics are likely to kind of give you a little bit of stylistic shock early on if you don't know what you're expecting. Okay, up we go. Nope, bad idea. Thought I could beat that time, and that was clearly a miscalculation. Okay, up we go. Should have gone straight under that muncher, but no, we have time. Let's take it easy. Yeah, that pipe to the left. I guess it's kind of obstructed by the muncher. Okay, this segment is one that is likely to cause a bit of time trouble. But, as we know, time trouble is not actually going to be too bad here. Okay, nice clean bounce once. Now let's not die to too much stuff. Let's go up the stack. Past the boom boom. And around and to checkpoint. With 28 seconds remaining. Music segment. Oh, okay, it actually is a music level. What kind of looping track are we going to get here? Okay. If If anybody recognizes this song, do let me know. Now, let's see here. We are going to time out there, but at least we have a sense of what's coming. Crazy Bus, a very notorious Sega Genesis game that had music so bad it literally could hurt people's ears. Yeah, I should not have doubted Mang's Sega literacy as a bit of a sonic specialist. No, I didn't actually know that. I don't think. Maybe if I listened to the original track closely, I would recognize it. Like, describing Crazy Bus that way, it does kind of ring a bell to me. I've just been sort of away from the game music scene for so long at this point. I feel like we could have actually gone over through this segment. Anyway, Boom Boom, in a bit of a circular fight over here, we'll dismount Boom Boom and go for this key here. Oh, Boom Boom is just going to very kindly get crushed for me. Donut Block will take you down. Well, maybe it's just something that is, at least to Theorymon's ears, very reminiscent of whatever Crazy Bus is. Of course, I'm going to check the pipes too. We have 20 seconds to figure this out. That's all the time in the world. I can also drop down to right side if I really wanted. But that's okay, we'll take the top. Anyway, nice to see a second music level from Mang after Goomba Fountain, of course. I don't know if I missed any kind of ending secret with a second checkpoint there, but it seems like you really ate through a great deal of the entity budget already, so who knows? Given that I couldn't actually tell whether I missed any pipe entrances. There is something on top, isn't there? If you... well, I mean, everything is built on the half screen, but I guess there was a doodad on top near the very end if you managed to make it over somehow. That's probably just some ground tile artifact remaining that doesn't do too much for you. Also, I want to check one thing. I just wanted to make fun of Supernova for not stamping a like on this, because we all know why. Oh, he's got the first clear too, okay, yeah. Anyway. Let's go on to do some more recent material. This is Top 10 Anime Chairs and Tables. Another person is in your room. Do not talk to them. One checkpoint with an anti-key death. I should go back and look at that thumbnail, actually. Let's exit this quickly. I need to rethink that. Hang on. We'll go back to your animated chairs and tables, because I don't think I actually paid attention to you. Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, it looks very, very innocent. I love how it's got the fake arrow sign at the beginning, too. Pretending to be the start of the level. That's something that's very... I love how people are kind of identifying this as a different game as well. Four Wings or Tetrateryx thinks it's Atari ET. Maybe after you've dug the cartridge up from a landfill. Atari ET sounds like that. Very sus. And yeah, Mr. Sparky, of course, is very tasteful. Let's get back in. Okay, hit that and bounce immediately. This, I guess, is just a matter of stomping accurately so I can actually hit the POW and get on top of the cat bullet in time to activate the thwomp and get on top of it, because the thwomp is going to crush all of the ants. I don't need to get on top of it, I do need to go to the left of that thwomp, I think. Whoops. Yeah, you will need dash panel speed to get through there quickly enough, I think, but... Yeah, as long as we're facing the right way going into the dash panels, generally we should be fine. The down arrow did indicate, I think, where I should aim to land on top of that swamp. And I will need it to carry me across, I think. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Except I was facing the wrong direction, so after hitting the POW, I do need to be facing right. And then there will be a wall jump afterwards. With the POW ceiling that we see very shortly. So yeah, this is all about just facing the right way. Going in. No, that's going to be a long jump. Very clearly a long jump, in fact. Pretty unambiguous what you're supposed to do there. And through we go. That was not quite a long jump, but I made it anyway, so let's not complain too much. Okay, there we go. And then, this surprisingly is going to get me over, looks like it's supposed to be a scroll break on the other side. I wonder if I'm supposed to activate an on-off switch and come back through here. I feel like that's going to be the case. Except, the auto-scroll is going to prevent me from going back there, so I feel like I missed something. Unless the scroll break becomes relevant later. And yeah, Theoremon, Mang has tons of dash panel levels all over. It really looks suspicious, doesn't it, the right side here? I wonder what's going to happen, because there's no way that I can see to return through here. But maybe you get spawned back in... Oh, and you have to time around that, of course. Oops. Yeah, question mark. Looks like it is on-off state dependent. We might just need a different on-off state getting into that. But of course that would activate the spike. I actually want to check this. Yeah, and this looks like it is spawn blocking something, like maybe blasters that block off this pipe. If you, for example, drop back in here in the first zone with a different on-off state. We need to remember to... First of all, not restart the whole level, but secondly, actually time the shot here. Okay. Much better. I should have jumped directly instead of trying to go for a wall jump, obviously. And then we're going to have a series of launches after that. Yeah, I wonder if it is possible to reverse quickly enough through the dash panels to beat the auto-scroll. No, there's no way, there's no way. That's not going to be the re-entry pipe. I think it's just going to be blocked there, and you just re-entered this zone at an earlier point that I didn't pay enough attention to. Anyway, patience is key here, apparently. Nope. It's totally missing. Yeah, not only do you need to stomp, I think you need to get back on the dash panel afterwards. That was, of course, the case for the last little bit here before checkpoint as well, but I didn't really do it that way. So I hadn't practiced the optimal path. Oh, that probably is it, in fact. That if you... Oh, well, we'll go back and rethink it. I mean, I'm taking my time today. Yeah, maybe if you do, in fact, do that whole exclamation block segment accurately, then get a different pathway out of the entry zone. Let's remember this. Yeah, because it seems like, you know, making my way through the dash panel plus the exclamation block on this screen was optional, but there could be something timing-based going on that I just didn't pay attention to because I wasn't really focusing on the on-off state and whether it would be externally controlled by anything. So let's go back here and try to fix this up. Whoops. I was about to say pretty good use of the pipa. Very uncommonly used. But a pretty good fit here as a bit of a timing element, just given their very unique movement pattern. I don't know if I was supposed to wait a little bit. I should have long jumped through there, of course. But I think I needed the creeper to retract a little further, so I had to get in position for that launch, perhaps a little bit earlier than I did. Okay. Nope, trying to hit the long jump there, and I just missed. Skip Squeak is timed alongside your activation of the on-off switch there, I think. So Skip Squeak is basically there to prevent any additional jumps past the required long jump, if I understand it correctly. Let's wait. Nope, once again, just missing. Yep. As you can see, from the switch activation, the Skip Squeak is going to remain in the air and float for just a little bit. Okay. Nope, still missing it. Yeah, no, I'm just not accounting for the fact that dash panel plus conveyor belt kicks me off much earlier than I expect. Okay. Or maybe with the conveyor belt the way it is, I don't know, for some reason, I might just need a regular jump there, in fact. I'm going to try it with a regular jump, because long jump just isn't activating, and I don't know if it's a timing issue or if the dash panel plus conveyor belt is somehow negating that. It's the kind of thing I should know from memory at this point, but... No, it looks very clearly like a long jump, I just don't know why it's not going. Yeah, clearly doing something wrong there. Okay. There we go. Nope, facing the wrong way. You do need to face left out of the bump against the question blocks there, otherwise you get stuck and you don't get to hit the blue POW block to the left. That gets you through the thwomp gate in that location. So long jump is correct, I just had some trouble activating it. Probably just as a matter of timing. Let's wait this out slightly. Yeah. Trying to long jump once again, and I may just be late. And consistently so. Just from not correctly estimating how fast I am going. Whoops. Facing the wrong way over there. That wasn't great. Okay, let's hit this. Put it down. Nope, tried to hang left out of that. Actually, maybe if I maintain momentum after I hit the question blocks, instead of being able to reverse my direction after the wall bump. Yeah, because I can't actually reverse direction after I hit the wall with a long jump like that. I have to jump immediately and face left on the next jump. Because the wall bump at the end of a long jump doesn't quite give me what I want. Yeah, I panicked there for a moment because I didn't create enough of a flooring with the exclamation block there, and managed to make that regardless, but that was a bit surprising. So you do not, in fact, need to hit the exclamation block the whole way. But yeah, Green Star, having a lot of fun with this one as well. Like I said, I've played a couple of dash panel related 3D World levels by Mang at this point. And they still managed to have enough going on to really be a distinct experience from each other. In the case of this level, of course, there is this whole requirement of minding which direction you're facing. Some other levels in this format in the past have tested things like P-jumps or getting around icicles or other things like that. Nope. Yeah, I need to remember I need to hit that block immediately and try to hang left. I was trying to do so, but the first jump didn't seem to work. I basically need to spam jump until it works, I think. Okay, here we go. I can see that the Piranha Creeper actually works as a kind of timing control, where because its position is dependent on the scroll, it makes sure there is a bit of a boundary on when the player is allowed to proceed, so you can't outrun the Piranha Creeper's camera position. So it basically resynchronizes the player with the level's auto-scroll at that point, because you are forced to wait based on the camera timing. No, I need to remember that I need to jump a second time in order to reposition after the dash panel does its business. With that blue POW on the left side. Okay, here we are. Nope, somehow... Yeah, I need to hold the direction before I jump. I'm kind of holding them simultaneously, and given that I'm just jumping within one tile for that ceiling, sometimes the button order is not going to be recognized the way I want, so... Just need to think very consciously about the inputs there, which is kind of a hallmark of some of the harder Mang levels that basically teach you new techniques on the fly. Same goes with the POW. I need to hold right before I jump. Because, yeah, as a Mario player, I think one's natural instinct is to, if you're trying to hit a block that's right on the left or the right edge, hold against a wall until you've actually gotten a hit. In this case, you actually have to pull away in the opposite direction ahead of time. And so you do need to break some mental habits here, where if you're under the question blocks, you need to point left and hit. And trust that the dash panels will just trap you in position. If you're trying to hit the POW block, you need to point right and hit. By the same logic, so... And that wasn't quite it, though, because I jumped in such a way that I pointed right before I was able to hit the POW, so the timing does require a little bit of work on my part. Okay, here we are. Up and up. Now I wonder what that's all about. It might be something to do with the twirl. I guess the twirl would allow you to pull back, right? Maybe. This is going to get me into trouble. That was almost salvaged, in fact. Almost. Just wasn't in position. Had that switch early enough. Yeah, if the level does not loop back to the opening segment as I foresaw, then we'll have to go back and revisit that. Nope, still missing the long jump. You do need to anticipate it fairly early, even before the arrow. Just to account for all that forward momentum that you're carrying with you. Okay, here we are. Jumping the gun a little bit early there. That's a fairly easy thing to fix, though, so not going to be too concerning. Yeah, you would think that's just a very straightforward long jump, but it's partly a matter of reflex and partly a matter of anticipation, just to adjust for the speed at which you're traveling. And I'm still missing it. I'm trying to hit it quite early, and clearly I'm having some issues with the long jump execution there in a way I can't quite place. Nope. Almost salvaging that. Not quite. Well, let's have another go at this. And forward. No, I don't know what's going on. It might be a directional issue where if my D-pad is not quite pointing straight, like if I'm getting an accidental diagonal, that might be part of the issue here. But I'm not really sure. I was able to execute that cleanly a few times earlier. It probably is just hitting my D-pad on too much of a diagonal, in fact. Yeah. So I made sure I straightened that out that time, and that time the auto-scroll kind of pushed me. I was too late. So that was a speed issue. You just need to react to everything there very quickly in terms of what happens after the long jump wall bump. Okay. Nope, still too late. Once again, I was a little out of position under POW, and that was, I believe, because the auto-scroll boundary had already pushed me forward by about half a tile. Yeah, you really do need to think quickly on your feet here with some of these interactions. Even if you have seen them before. Whoops. Once again, as I said, the Piranha Creeper does create a bit of a consistent time constraint. And so the next challenge after that isn't going to be any easier. Is this salvageable? Not really. Nope. Had to stop myself from restarting the whole thing, of course. There we go. Try not to miss. Cutting a bit of a corner there, but whoops, totally missing. Yeah, I was pulling back too much before the upper bonsai. I knew I was a little bit behind there, but I should have landed onto bonsai and pointed left. but I was clearly late, just by a little bit. It was doable, but needed a bit more correction than I expected. Here we are. Now, I am trying to twirl there. I wonder if I just need to straighten out a bit more. And it might not even be a twirl, it might just be straightening out to jump. Pulling back a bit. And yeah, Mang, after stepping on Sonic so many times, I see we're also squishing CC replays at this point. CC replays quasi-Kirby. That has equally been stepped on. Okay, so if I bounce on top of the skip squeak, I get over there safely. I thought I could overshoot, but clearly that's not quite enough of a falling arc. Bouncing on top of the skip squeak should be the solution. Yeah, let's go. Okay, that's going far more consistently. Okay. Here's a door. Checkpoints. Yeah, I quite like this snowball pushing. And here's the icicle turnaround. Something that we're also familiar with in Mang levels by this point. Oh, wrong way there. Got through a significant amount of that on the first try, in fact. It worked out quite well. But yeah, the snowball push is a really nice element here. As you can see, I actually skipped the snowball with a bit of a twirl, but probably the spacing works better if you do, in fact, bounce on the snow. Okay. Oh, slide on the skip squeak, and then I was a little behind on the whole thing. I believe it's going to be a long jump off the P block. And then we'll just have to hope that things work out for that snowball at the very end of that. Oops. And Luca, do you think there's any cheese in Get Out of the Car? Hey, Mang will have to answer that, of course. I played Get Out of the Car over a year ago. Maybe a year and a half ago, in fact. It was one of the earlier Mang levels that I would have played. Probably as my opening feature at some point on one of my early streams when I was just starting out. Nope. I was trying to slide into that. I wonder if I need to do a bit of a backslide. It's a bit counterintuitive to hit the spiked skip squeak that way. So I was kind of thinking, do I need the forward slide or the back slide, or does it not matter? We'll have to go back there and check. Yeah, the repeated push of a snowball going directly off the dash panel without a jump is really quite interesting. Of course, it's just a dash panel carrying you forward. In a location like that. Yeah. Seems like first attempt was still the best on this whole area. Nope. Yeah, I need to get on a slope a little later. If I'm too shallow on a slope, I don't get enough of a slide to go down to the skip squeak. So I'm reversing a little bit too early there. You're 2 seconds behind the world record with clean run. Oh, for get out of the car. Yeah, that's a good question then. Whether there's anything to your method that is that clearly suboptimal. Nope, facing the wrong way, going out of the skip squeak. Yeah, no, I need a backslide, in fact. Because a backslide out of the skip squeak... unless I manage to jump out of that. But no, I'm going to hit the skip squeak on top of the dash panel. I will be in midair when I make contact with the slide. Because of that, I do need a backslide. So I am facing forward, facing to the right, when I slide through it and drop to the dash panel. I think that's the only way you can do it. Facing backwards is going to kill me there because my first contact with the dash panel is going to send me to the left. And I didn't really get a clear look at whether I can do a quick adjustment against the ceiling there, but we'll have to get back there and replan that. Okay. Yeah, just twirling too early in midair there, or rather hitting the jump button and the twirl. A little bit confused about what kind of jump I wanted there. And so I was trying to do too many inputs at once, while just making that decision on the fly. Yeah, long jump is fine, actually. Now we need to catch up on this. And back here we go. And it is going to be a flagpole that I will not react to very cleanly because I didn't hit that dash panel and develop enough momentum, so... Looks like the top of the flagpole may not be accessible unless, of course... I'll have to think about that. Now I'm thinking about the previous level, because that bit that I took for a doodad... No, we did hit the top of the flagpole and leveled Kremer, because I remember the spring obstacle over that, but... It occurs to me that I have no idea whether the half-screen scroll stop is affected by the flagpole height. Because you would think that for something like the axe height in the castle theme, that would obviously not affect it, right? Because there's nothing that's poking into the top half of the screen. But is that true for the base of the flagpole? I actually have no idea. Like, if you're building within a half-screen camera constraints, is the flagpole also forced to a low position? I don't know the answer to this. At least not without testing it. Okay. And, well, I'm not going to test it now. I'm busy playing, but if somebody is able to test it, they can let me know. Nope, missing that. Doesn't seem like a way to get up anyway, but as we know, that's all the scroll stop was for, so that's a clear. And congratulations to Nabuz for that 1 minute 30 record. And thank you for the GG. I don't actually know why this is top 10 anime chairs and tables, but I find that, you know, sometimes Mang's level titles are an additional puzzle to sort out. Is there artwork here? Let's check for artwork. Red Moon left artwork. Yeah, thank you for all the GGs. Let's do another one. We're getting through these fairly efficiently at this point, and so the current plan for anybody joining me late is I'll try to finish these, and then we previously didn't do the additional exit in Great Goombo Fountain, so I'll probably go back to that afterwards and bang my head against that for a while, if I have time. And I also didn't get the hammer room, like the hard hammer room in Hammer Bro in a Cloud, although all that was coins. I don't think it was actually additional playable content. Other than surviving the coin room. But let's do this first because it's 0.75. I don't know how quickly we'll get it done. As you can see, it's another 3D world level that has dash panels in it. Unless, of course, the thumbnail is as misleading as the one in Level Crimmer, so... Ant. With lots of arrows in between. And Luca currently holding the world record here as well. Yeah. Forward and on an ant. Yeah, okay. I think that makes sense. And the ant runs fast because of the conveyor. And now that gets trickier. I do need to drop the icicle. I didn't get close enough and didn't wait for long enough to make that happen. But clearly you need to cycle around that jump a little bit just to get things to go the way I want. I cannot outrun the ants when they are walking forward with the additional boost from the conveyor but down below, so I will need to jump around whenever I can, and hopefully once the icicle has in fact been lowered. And yeah, I was wondering if the icicle would lower in time. I believe I'm maybe able to squeeze in after the first jump, but should probably take 2 just in case. I don't know if the timing works out for the first jump to be available. Sometimes, you know, I feel like I'm still adjusting to the fact that I just played a dash panel level because I'm able to lower the icicle just by jumping in place. And I don't know why I'm kind of sliding back and forth going towards the icicles. Except that I'm just still accustomed to everything we were doing with the dash panels in the previous one. Yeah, I should just jump straight up there. That's much easier. Need to time this a little bit better, of course, accounting for the descent through the clear pipe. Okay. And I could have long jumped that, I think, to get ahead of it, but better to go up the pipe twice. Yeah, I think going up the pipe twice is definitely going to be better, just given that I do have to dodge the ants behind me anyway, after the first one circles around it. First pipe jump, rather, circles around it. Nope. Icicles do not run fast. Icicles, in fact, do not run at all. Now, what is this? Okay. Oh, I need to drop the icicle to do that. And then I also need to jump on top of the ants. I wonder if a wall jump will be involved here. Of course, will need to find a better timing window. Yeah, I keep expecting that I have dash panel speed. It's just sort of still mentally in that mode. And so my momentum calculations are completely off all over the place. Nope. It probably is reachable with a good twirl and wall jump, but just barely out of reach for my pattern that time, so better to just bounce on the ants as intended, I think, just to be safe. Okay. Go again. Yeah, pretty safe timing once you do learn it. Same here. I feel like that's going to require a forward roll, but a forward roll after I've timed myself by jumping over a few ants. And I can take my time with that. I'm not really under a great deal of time pressure. It's not like I'm on top of a dash panel or something else that is very time sensitive. Like standing on top of icicles or donut blocks or something. And Luca, I guess you've improved that by 1.5 seconds. I guess, well, that's probably within range of some further optimization. You never know with car momentum. Oops. I think I still had some hard mode exits that were still undone in the old profile as well, but I don't remember which ones. I'd actually have to go through some of my older videos to recall that. Because there were definitely some that I skipped out on either by mistake or for lack of time during viewer levels. So. Nope, bad timing. Definitely a few changes that we can make here. Yeah, 2 jumps. The icicles is going to be pretty consistent. Oh, just missed the ant completely. Poor timing on my part. Whoops, I was expecting the icicle to drop by then, it obviously didn't. Need to let it make contact, and we have enough time to jump over an additional ant before the icicle respawns. Yeah, get right next to it. And there we are. Once again, let's jump over an additional ant before we do the roll. Instead of trying to beat it in one go. Probably is beatable in one go, but not with the timing that I picked. Managed to do this consistently by ducking in a corner. Luca, I assume you're talking about the car level still. Whoops. Electro Dude, welcome. Yeah, Electro Dude, we were just talking about your comment earlier on level grammar, since I cleared that at the start of the stream. I made some remark about how you had excellent taste. Anyway, Electro Dude, hope you're doing well. And Electro Dude, didn't you just have a big examination week? I hope that wasn't too rough on you. Okay, here we go. Yeah, it pays to take that somewhat patiently. Here I will need to twirl for sure. Not a lot of room, or I just need a much more precise jump, but probably need to twirl just sustain a little bit more airtime, even though it doesn't help too much in the 3D world style, as opposed to an SMB. Whoops. Oh, hey, that works. Bit of a tight save there, but luckily getting on the side of that ant trooper worked out just fine. Okay, let's go up here. Nope, just need much better timing. Tuesday's exam was pretty easy. Yesterday's was a yikes. Yeah, sometimes... Well, sometimes unless you know that you left tons of stuff blank, sometimes you can do better than you expected, perhaps. I mean, it depends on the person, I guess, like whether your mood coming out of exams tends to underestimate how you do or overestimate. Theorymon, you had a real interesting experience with a test. Yeah, you were saying something about a physics problem that you were doing with some advanced method, I believe. And yeah, because I remember you saying something to that effect. And you got extra credits for using a certain Einstein equation to solve the problem at hand. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it's something that you just sort of picked up through further reading, or if it's something that you just knew to apply in a way that was not explicitly instructed in the scope of that course. Yeah, good to see that either way. I need to roll directly out of that jump, I think, and maybe even wall jump out of it at the very end. I had a pretty clean method for that earlier, but that's clearly not going quite as well as it was before. Yeah, the descent timings through the clear pipes are pretty understandable just with a little bit of practice. This one here, you can anticipate the ant a little bit. I didn't do it right, of course. It's something you learn in the next physics course, you're saying. And electrons are going to be electrons. And okay. Going to get hunted down there. Now let's go over here. Something is still wrong with that timing. I had it earlier, but I'm not canceling out of the jump quickly enough. Or canceling out of the roll quickly enough, rather. I wonder if I should just, well, I mean, you can bump the creeper with a long jump, maybe, instead of just rolling directly underneath. And if I bump it, that would give me a bit more time, as long as the rebound off the long jump isn't going to be an issue. I think I'm able to do it with the creeper in that position. I'm not actually quite sure, but you would hit it in its head, in its most vulnerable spot, as it were. So I should consider that as an alternate method. Nope. The positioning is going to be wrong if you do it from that distance. Maybe if you do it closer, that's going to be fine, but... yeah, the roll does work, as we saw in previous attempts, but it doesn't work well enough in terms of timing. So I'll need to rethink that a bit. Okay. Let's get up here. And up we go. No, let's take the next icicle. No, you can't. You have to roll. Thought I'd test that just in case. It's one of those things, yeah, you have to hit it when the creeper is facing forward. You can't just pop it from the side like that. It doesn't work quite the same as when you jump on it. It's from any direction. But at least we're sure. Sometimes it is worthwhile to burn an attempt just so you don't bother trying that method again later. There are a lot of things I do know about this game that I just forget when I'm playing on the spot, or have to check an extra time. But yeah, there's a lot of memory involved sometimes with the level of complexity of the mechanics involved. Okay, that's the way to do it, as we had done several times before. Still too early on that jump. That's the jump that's been giving me trouble so far, so... that is the limit of our progression. Yeah, the height is, I think, 1 tile shorter than this here. As you can see, a straight jump, if your timing is good, gets you within 1 tile above the ant trooper and still lets you live to tell the tale, so... it's going to be very much a matter of positioning, but it's perfectly fine to just do a well-timed jump straight up in that tighter spot where we're dying later on. Okay, up we go. Need to go immediately. Okay, this will be interesting. Don't exactly know what my timing is going to be just yet. There we go. Don't know how consistently I can replicate that, but we'll do it. Yeah, a bit of a twirl to reposition there is going to be fine. Now, this kind of obstacle, as you know from the Goomba level and many other levels besides, I have tons of trouble with this kind of timing. Maybe if we wall jump, in fact, off the far side, it's going to be easier. But that kind of timing gets me all the time. Like that sort of delay between the jump and when you make contact with the moving target that's spawning at a certain interval. I just don't time those obstacles well at all. And we're going to see that again with the Goomba Fountain level later, I think, if we return to it for hard mode. Why does the ant freeze in mid-air? I don't know that it actually does. I don't think it does. Okay, there we are. Nearly had an issue there with the timing. Okay, there we go. Oh, if you're talking about it stopping between conveyors, that might be it. Like when the ants transfer from one conveyor to the other, there is a slight delay, I think. Okay, close call. Oh, you mean when it comes out of the pipe? Oh, you mean at the arrow here? Yeah, I see what you mean. It's... Notice that it's when it starts to fall vertically... I see what you mean, where the arrow is kind of giving you a moment where you can jump on the ant. Something to do with its walking animation, I think, when it's coming out. That is interesting. That is interesting. It's like it's trying to walk forward in midair at its terminal point there. It is when a new one comes out. Oh, okay, yeah, no, because there's a... Interesting, that the delay from the pipe on the new one coming out also delays all the other ones that have spawned. A little bit early. That's very curious, but it actually does give you a usable timing window. Like, it doesn't happen with any of the ants that are not in midair. And yeah, no, there's no delay between conveyor belts. I don't know why I thought there was. I was looking at that carefully. I probably got the two different interactions mixed up. So yeah, the transfer between conveyor belts, as we would have expected, is perfectly smooth. Okay. Yeah, there is a bit of a delay there, but I think that's because of the slope. And the ant actually gives you a little bit of extra room as you get up to the tree. It's slightly more lenient than it looks. Okay. There we are. Okay, this kind of dash panel thing we're familiar with. This is, of course, a scouting coin, just to allow you to see what you're going to be dealing with once the ants have spawned. A dash panel is going to require me to launch forward with a certain timing. That's familiar from some of the other levels we've seen in the past. Yeah, Theoremon, I kind of wonder what else can be done with that as well. That's something to take to the editor and play with afterwards. You do need dash panel momentum to get on top of the ending there towards the red pipe, so we basically wait until I have the right timing here. There we go. Here's a checkpoint. And then on-off switches are going to make this a little more complex. Okay. Did I need to race the ant? I think I did. Otherwise, we get into that kind of problem here. Yes, we do need to race the ant. And I do need to hit the on-off switch to reset everything. Or rather, we need... Oh, I see. No. The on-off switch gets reactivated by the spike ball. That's the thing I didn't account for, was that you only get access to one ant. So you need to basically follow it. Get the dash panel, whoops, jump and try to make it over to that ant in time. I believe you're only going to get one ant spawn. And then, yeah, I do need to get ahead of it, I think. Looking at what I see now. Like that. There we go. Okay. You do need to hit this block as well. I wonder if I need dash panel speed? Yeah, I do. I'm gonna do this cleanly then, without losing momentum. Yeah, because you need dash panel speed, and then without pulling back out of that, you land on that next set of suspended hard blocks, and then you long jump with dash panel momentum, and then that gives you the block, the question block at the very end. So yeah, pretty satisfying to figure this out one interaction at a time. Also to have a very generous level in terms of letting you retry. Don't want to miss, of course. Need a little bit more height on a long jump, so I'm clearly going too late there. Yeah, plenty of room to adjust over that end. Works out quite well. Yeah. I'm cutting momentum to get between the ends. You can do that if you need to save the attempt. But in general, you should actually be timing it so that you're holding forward the whole time. Or at least not pulling back. Like maybe you can let up on holding forward, but you definitely shouldn't pull back. For a segment like that. Oops. That was, of course, a mistaken diagonal. I'm not even using the Pro Controller D-pad. I'm using my much better Super Nintendo D-pad, but I think I'm just holding it in a way that is occasionally rocking my way up to the top right diagonal rather than going straight right. That was the issue we had with the long jump in the last level. Just need to straighten out my D-pad, given the way I'm holding my controller. Nope. Lost momentum over here. Nope. I was trying to jump. I was just late on a button press there. But yeah, maintain momentum, get on the hard blocks, long jump after that. Plenty of time to just scout ahead and see the interaction you're supposed to do, and then go back and fix it up. Yeah, that's one thing that in this style level I think always requires a lot of thought. That when you have segments involving things like dash panels that carry you forward that quickly, sometimes you do need to account for reading things for the first time and letting the player back up and retry if necessary, if it's not going to be otherwise blind-friendly enough. I think everything here is quite fair. I could, of course, be playing it much better, and just need to find a better timing. But yeah, we can adjust and lose the dash, of course, if I need to just survive and start this segment. Yeah, that's not going to be quite the timing I want. We can just redo this until we find it. Nope. Too early, I think. Nope. Almost. Almost. That was just a bit of an issue with the second long jump. There we are. Okay. Hang on to this guy. Now another thing that we're likely to have trouble with. Yeah, this doesn't do the same thing as the falling ants earlier in terms of the pause. But then, of course, we're not seeing the point at which they are going to a straight descent. Because here, that's off screen at the end of this arc. And as usual, I'm going to have trouble with something like that. Icicles in the next segment, that's going to create something time-sensitive that I'll need to figure out soon enough. Okay, let's go back and retry. Whoops. Also, it only just occurred to me that the title of this level is a reference to Mice Run Fast, who is, of course, a very frequent visitor to any of the Mario Maker streams that are on around this time, including my own. I had somehow not even thought about that. And congratulations, Luca, on managing to get that record. I suppose you did do that thing in the end where you have to cut through one of the cars diagonally. Okay, let's redo this. Nope. There is a particular timing that I'm aiming for right before a new one comes out of the pipe. It does work, I'm just not attempting it cleanly enough. But I do have a specific timing that I'm comfortable with, if I can do it as consistently as I would like. We found a faster way to deal with the car at the end, I see. Like I said, it's been so long since I played that level, I don't remember what the car in the end looks like, but I'm sure I'd remember if I saw it. Whoops. Let's back up and redo this. There we go, very nice and clean. That timing. No, let's spawn another one. Easy to spawn another one, at least. I don't want to drop every icicle, I want to drop a few of them so I can adjust my timing as necessary if things are not working out. Yeah, it just took me a moment to process that, but if I just jump on one icicle at a time, I can kind of think about that segment properly. that was correct, just going directly over like that with that timing, but the issue was that I missed a long jump. But yeah, getting it on that immediate cycle there actually should work. And yeah, Luca, I guess. I mean, Get Out of the Car was an extremely popular level, so it's been around for so long that I'm sure the world record was pretty hotly contested. So yeah, to get a new world record on something that has been around that long and it has had that many plays is definitely an accomplishment. And it is a fantastic car level. I think it's truly one of the classics of Mario Maker 2. In terms of, you know, just a level that you can still point to this day as an example of how to use the car well. Whoops. Does it have a multiplayer versus tag? I actually don't think I noticed that. It has multiplayer versus in the way that I suppose Mario Kart is multiplayer versus. Nope. Didn't mean to get that wall slide there. Oh, Mang doesn't lock the tags. On that account, perhaps. This one I don't know about. But I never really mess around with anybody's tags. They're going to be what they are, I suppose. I guess that would be one of the reasons why the multiplayer versus tag is not actually functional, as far as I know, in terms of filtering levels automatically. Because anybody could just retag that. And yeah, Theoremon, as far as car levels go, it's very different from the kind of car level that you're doing. Completely different, in fact. But if you're interested in seeing a classic of car levels, that's, I think, definitely something you should look at. You would enjoy that one a lot, I think. And... whoops. It's kind of like a level that uses the car like a Boot or a Yoshi, almost. Which is, of course, precisely what it replaces in the 3D World theme. Whoa, that ant on the left side surprised me there. Nope, missing. Going a little early off that long jump. Clearly the issue here. Yeah, there are a couple of decent car levels that I've seen in this game, but all of the ones that are kind of car platforming all feel like they owe something to Get Out of the Car as the one who really got it right. Like, there was a really good one by Samuel that we saw not long ago, and that one was kind of consciously modeled after Mang's car level as well. Like, Samuel was very aware of that. Okay, let's do this. Nope, too much jump height there. And yeah, Theoremon, I mean, you know, the nice thing about the YMM levels is that they're there for you to catch up at your own pace, as long as Nintendo doesn't delete anything. Yeah, Nintendo did delete 2 of the 4YMM levels months and months after the fact last year, unfortunately. But this year, hopefully, nothing else is going to get nuked. Nope. Right off the edge. There we are. Okay. Now this over here we'll need to work out. Why don't I drop this on top of it and kill it? Nope. Oh, didn't expect to get back on top of an icicle that time. I was expecting to drop through. That threw me off. You got a new and decent internet connection. Yeah, that's a good idea. Even if you're not doing multiplayer versus or anything. I mean, yeah, I gave up on multiplayer versus in this game very quickly. I'm on a good connection now. Much better than when I first started streaming. I have barely any other drop frames anymore due to network issues. It's usually just dropped due to video processing lag or something else, but the network's been running extremely smoothly for the most part. And I still haven't really gone back to do multiplayer versus in this game, because I just lost interest so quickly back when it came out. Also, I'd rather just spend all my time in this game playing good levels. If I can. I mean, even the viewer levels on my stream tend to be very, very reasonable for the most part. Very few duds. Especially compared to a lot of other people's queues that I see. That's something I've mentioned often, that we're just very fortunate to have great makers show up over here. Okay. Too early. Far too early. And yeah, Ethereum is very much a function of who you cultivate over time, and what kind of crowd you attract to viewer levels. I mean, if people see you playing garbage all the time, they're going to send you more garbage, right? Like, because that's the audience you build, and that's the product you're delivering. Okay. Over here. But yeah, I mean, the reality is that, you know, for most Mario Maker streamers, viewer levels is the thing that brings in the biggest audience. And so, it seems there are a lot of streamers that run it and look very conspicuously like they would rather be doing something else, but they might be trying to run for a partner or something, or just trying to get the numbers up in general to grow the stream, and so viewer levels continue even if they don't really enjoy what they're seeing, which, you know, if they want to do that to themselves, that is their call. Speaking of which, my schedule is going to get a little bit rough going into November and December, so one thing I am considering is that currently, much as I enjoy viewer levels, we may take it down to one stream a week rather than two, at least for a few weeks. I haven't decided yet whether it will be on the first day or the second day in the current schedule that we keep. Because usually, of course, we do Friday night, Saturday morning, and Saturday night, Sunday morning, depending on your time zone. One of these I might swap out, because in the coming weeks I'll want to balance Maker 2 against some other things here and there. And yeah, Luca, I saw that Todello was somebody who had tons of Mang records last year as well, that I'm sure you've gradually been stripping away. I actually did check that profile because I was curious, and it looks like it's somebody who only plays and tries to farm world records, but is not actually a maker. And clearly enjoyed Mang's levels enough to snatch as many world records as possible. No, we need to get ahead of this ant. I know that. Let's try to do things that we know successfully already. Yeah, hitting the ant a little too early, in fact. That's part of the issue here. I'm actually getting ahead of the ant a little too well. There we go. Just need a higher jump going into the dash panel. That's going to be the fix. And yeah, Vrail Night Viper, welcome to the stream, first of all. And this is indeed tons of fun. Okay, I need to get ahead of the ant once again. Yeah, for the maker features, I usually spend more time on levels by people who can't make it to the viewer queues, but Mang is a very regular presence on my viewer level stream, of course, but sometimes the levels do need a bit more dedicated time and attention. I tend to take my time with a lot of these, so I thought it would be a good choice for my first maker feature in quite a few weeks, in fact. The last time I did one would have been maybe start of September. And just from the way my schedule shook out, I didn't get to do as many maker preview streams for 6YMM as I intended, and so we'll be going back to look at some 6YMM makers in the coming weeks as well, I think. Some of the ones that I hadn't really spent much time on previously. Especially some of the Korean makers, since they're people who also don't tend to show up in our own queue. But yeah, it was really nice to become acquainted with a lot of the Korean makers this year. Because that is such a good scene. So much maker talent in there. Okay, there we go. That was close. But we made it. On-off switch over here. I wonder if I needed to speed through this. No, we need to hit the on-off switch, and then we'll need to cycle around and... yeah, I hit the on-off switch. This is going to spawn an ant. I get over an ant. I get on the dash panel. I jump. I would need to bounce on top of an ant over here. No, I would probably just need to long jump over this. Okay. This will be disabled by the on-off switch. No, it won't, because the on-off switch resets immediately. I need to scout ahead and see this. This looks like it's supposed to spawn something else. Yeah, I need to spawn an ant going this way. And then jump over and then bounce on top of the ant to get out of the pipe up top. I see. Vrail Night Viper, I'm not running viewer levels today. The maker code today is in my stream title. I am running viewer levels tomorrow and the day after in this time slot. So if you want the code, though, I have it in my stream title for the maker, and the name of the level is Ant Run Fast. It is, I believe, the second most recent one on this list, if you want to play this for yourself. There we go. And yeah, no worries. That's just how we run things around here. We kind of do a mix of viewer levels and some curated streams where I pick everything. Okay, this timing should not be that tough. There we are. And Yeah, do enjoy these levels if you do get a chance to play them. Thank you for the GGs. We're making pretty decent time. I sometimes see sub 1% clear rates on Mang levels, and depending on whether there's a hard mode, I can take about an hour on some of them. Maybe even more, depending on some of the ones in the past that we've seen that were sort of around the 0.5 range. Yes, Luca, since you got the record on this, I assume you also dropped some art. So thank you for all the GGs. Oh, Lil Curbs actually played this. Lil Curbs does not have the record on it, though, and presumably didn't slap an ant on his wall. And yeah, look at that, Luca. Lovely ant trooper here. Totally upstaging this guy. But, you know, Joel over here tried. So did Sergeant Bomb. They tried. Whatever. But yeah, Luca is not only going to come in and grab the world record, but is also going to be the reigning champion of the Comet Art, despite everybody else's efforts. Flux Capacitor, welcome. Theoremon, I guess it depends on what you mean by a mechanical reason. I don't know if you had a chance to see the Great Goombo Fountain, which I might return to at the end, but it also uses naked pipes in a fairly interesting way. Anyway, Julian's Jungle. It is a level, thank you for the follow, this is a level that shares its title with something that was created by Supernova, I think, except Supernova, I believe, deleted it. Because Supernova is very self-critical. Julian, of course, I haven't seen around in quite a while. I believe he's mostly playing Mario Kart these days, but a very important maker in both Mario Maker games in his own right. And we'll see what this jungle has in store. This is apparently a shooter and a link level, which is curious for something in NSMBU. But yeah, Vrail Night Viper, we've seen some very interesting comment arts all over the place in the past. In fact, Mang herself is also a fantastic comment artist. But yeah, Luca's been all over these. And then some other great artists that we've seen as well. Angus Cook and Isabel has been spectacular. Isabel from Switzerland. A couple of other fantastic comment artists that we see in many of these. Wall jump. The Z is going to be a little bit misleading. Oh, no, it's not. It's going to be a spin jump. I don't know how to read markers, so that's okay. That works. Poison's not going to get high enough to matter, I think. At least not there. On-off switch is going to be required to get up above everything I need. And squirrel. Naturally, we're going to check the left side. Just to see what's going on. And man, I actually can't tell if this is just an unauthorized remake of the Supernova level. I don't remember it well enough to say, that's the thing. It does seem vaguely familiar. Best art you can do with comments is pixel by pixel, and yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the comment artists in this game use their own stylus. This level is made within 69 seconds. Yeah, seems like that's a bit of a record in its own right. Why did I hit that? I don't need to hit that. This is what's left of Julian's jungle. Interesting block over here. Interesting flag, rather. I just want to see if there's anything above that. Oh, no. Hang on. I guess you can boost up to the left. Now, is there any reason to do that? Probably not. This is what's left of Julian's jungle after you're done with it, yeah. After it has gone through its natural process of decay. I shouldn't have burnt the boost there, of course. And also, Meng, if we're making particularly good time today... Well, I mean, we'll see. I might take a while on the Goomba Fountain if we go back to it, but... At some point, I know I've been saving the Space Bunny trilogy for one of these feature streams because I've been skipping it on viewer levels due to clear rate. I mean, I'm unlikely to actually run it today, but we might take a look if we have time later. And Luca knows what I'm talking about. Flux capacitor, you want to see Ouija? We'll have that starting on the next attempt. No, don't want to do that. Yeah, it looks like you can actually boost and maybe get on top of the top ledge. I don't know about that. Not really. Let's just take the flag. I'll look at the more info screen for this one afterwards, actually, to see if the flag box means anything. Let's go back and take a look. Thank you for the GGs. Let's see what's going on here. No, it doesn't look like anything is accessible there. So we checked the left side. I think we checked everything. Kind of curious about one thing. I see Supernova also did not leave a like on this. It didn't even have naked pipes. I think there was some other matter of principle in play here. Anyway, like I said, as planned. Also, I don't remember if I missed any of the other optional content in previous levels. I mean, there was the coin room I mentioned in Hammerbro in a Cloud. I believe I actually did get the best path in all of the other ones here. But yeah, some of you who have been present in recent streams will have seen me crash against this one for quite some time on viewer levels before we got it right. And I barely missed the good exit because I just kind of tripped over something at the end. For the good exit, you do need to keep the Buzzy Helmet and also get all the pink coins. That's the condition. And yeah, I just tripped over the ending and accidentally hit the goal when I played it last time. Because beating the level is not quite enough. You do need to get over the goal pole and survive with both the key and the Buzzy Hat. Okay, going to whack that guy, and then going to lose that, so. But yeah, on the old profile, like I was saying, I know I had missed another hard mode a few streams ago as well, and I just don't remember what it was. I should have written it down, but I neglected to do so. And yeah, Vrail Night Viper. Oh, this is no longer marked as a music level. I thought it was music level. Or maybe that was just something we were joking about on the stream. Missed a POW, of course. But yeah, Theoremon, you were asking about naked pipes earlier. As you can see, these are naked pipes that are also wearing bridges as lacy lingerie. But yeah, I remember commenting on the previous stream when I played this that since I have kind of had Metroid onto brain recently, they looked kind of like sidesteppers in Metroid. Or not sidesteppers, side something. I keep thinking of sidesteppers when that's the enemy in Donkey Kong. Not in Donkey Kong, in Mario Brothers, like the crab enemy in arcade Mario Brothers. The side whatever in Metroid. You know what I'm talking about. Side hopper, yeah. That's mental imagery you didn't need? Oh, there's lots more where that came from. We have too many Goombas alive right now. I need to clear out this stack of it. There we go. Oh, nope. I was expecting more Goombas to spawn. Not yet, I don't. Let's start over. Let's get back into it. Once we take the helmet, of course. And yeah, Luca, like I did say previously, it is Jobim's one-note samba, apparently. And Vrel Nightviper, thanks for dropping by. Yeah, always glad to have new people here. Enjoy all the other streamers that you're channel surfing through. Okay, here we are. Now, what are we doing here? Oh, whoops. No, icicles are going to be a problem, but I salvaged that miraculously. Now let's get the scroll break over here. Whoops. Now here I will get a chance to time this properly. Nope, too late on that last bounce there. I was a little bit out of position on Divine. I felt like I landed on Divine a little bit low. And so I just got into all kinds of trouble with the scroll break in that position. Yeah, reasonably close to the end. That was always the part that I had the most trouble with. Okay, firing to the left, that's something we remember from last time after much trial and error, but mostly error. Whoops, going too soon before the Goombas in the previous area had despawned. If you jump when the camera shakes, I'll get it right. Should have thought about that. We'll try to get that right. And yeah, let's hit this. A lot of the early stuff is going much smoother than I remember, at least. Nope. Still too early. Let's let the scroll go a little further first before we do anything like that. It is built to let you get ahead a bit and get on that vine and go right to left to get up to the top left corner. So we don't need to beat the auto-scroll by that much. Or the Goomba spawning will just not quite work out. Even after all these shell clears. Over here. we are. Yeah, last time I had a bit of trouble here with accidentally clinging onto the vines up top when I wanted to go down, but that's okay. Timing is an issue here. Well, that really is well timed. In terms of the screen shake, I just hadn't thought about using that. Okay, here we are. Here's the finale. Nope. Same mistake as before. But yeah, that was a reasonably quick route back there after having had some rough times with this in previous streams. And we'll see how quickly we can get back to that, and how consistently, so I can make a proper attempt at the finale. CC Replays, welcome to CC Replays. We've been seeing a lot of your flattened Kirby emote today. It's been a very appropriate occasion for all that. Also, CC Replays, I know that this was built for your contest. I'm sure that this was long ago enough that you've had a chance to play it, as well as all the other fantastic Goomba levels by this point. So, hope the contest went well. Okay. Oh, look at this Goomba hanging around down here. That's causing all kinds of trouble. Oh, it's Ditto. Okay, okay. It looks kind of like a Kirby that had been run over, I think, in certain poses. And yeah, no worries. It's a great emote to have taken over to chat. Very inspired choice. I mean, I guess the thing about Kirby and Ditto is that there's going to be some kind of copying going on, so... Is it Kirby as Ditto or Ditto as Kirby? Who knows? This level got 4th. Ah, I see. I don't think I even knew it was a Kaizo contest because I'd seen a number of submissions to your contest from people who were definitely not building Kaizo. They were just building Goomba stuff in general. So yeah, glad you enjoyed all of that anyway. Ah, nope. Totally wrong. Next series of Sword and Shield starts in November. Yeah, I have zero clue about the competitive scene in Sword and Shield, so... but that's something, of course, that Theoremon knows quite a bit about, hence the name. Okay, up we go. You said you'd show off all the levels on YouTube, but only Kaizo would probably win. I see. Well, I mean... That's a good way to motivate a lot of levels from people who wouldn't necessarily be comfortable building Kaizo anyway, and just to get a bit of variety in there, even if you do mainly intend it to be a Kaizo contest. Nope, lost a helmet. Yeah, here we are. Yeah, it seemed like a lot of people were building levels for yours. Like, even more than usual for contests that are going on, I was encountering at least maybe just a very high overlap between the makers who show up here and people who do follow your stream and wanted to enter the contest. I can usually tell when other streamers are running contests based on things that I'm getting as submissions, viewer levels, etc., but it seemed like there was a particularly high overlap here. Got fourth in a Kaizo contest without Kaizo, yeah. Well, you set the rules. Terms and conditions apply. Nope. I was trying to go with the screen shake, but that was not well timed. You got a Raid Shadow Legends ad. Okay, I think I know what you mean. Yeah, many people in the community told their friends about the contest. Yeah, it seemed like there was some very good word of mouth about it. I mean, I don't know how many entries you had in the end, but... like I said, it seemed, at least from my perspective, like there was a much bigger intake of entrants than usual. Yeah, Supernova, I've beaten this level already. I am just trying to get the key door at the end, because last time I tripped over a Goomba right as I was at the goal. And yeah, stream advertising works in mysterious ways. Oops. Yeah, who did put Goombas in this level? Very suspicious. Yeah, Supernova, we have already cleared some of your personal favorites from this list earlier. Just finished Julian's Jungle, which was, of course, a true original. And earlier in the stream, a level Kremer, which is just full of supernova pipes. Now, let's head over here. And yeah, Electrodude's really been kind of raising that Goomba count as well. That was something we did see on one of my own streams. Okay, up we go. You spanked them in. That seems to be too much information. Although, of course, we're playing a level right now with Naked Pipe Lingerie, so I guess spanking the Goombas isn't really that far off. Nope. Still kind of poor timing in terms of getting back over. Nope. It's okay. Salvage that. Yeah, I mean, these Super Mario World Goombas that have kind of been retconned as Galoombas as of 3D World. They're kind of built to be hit from all sides anyway, so... That totally counts as informed consent. Yeah, they even turn over like the Goom Rats as well, just with their bums in the air. Just asking for it. Anyway, let's not be too raunchy about it. This is, after all, 69YM Mang 69, and gotta keep it family friendly. Okay, let's get over here. And they totally make that face. Yeah, that's true. Nope, still having trouble with that. Oh, that time I got sniped by the Goomba who goes a little bit higher sometimes. That guy tends to throw me off quite a bit. Nope. Yeah, poor Goomba's just bumming around. I clearly wasn't getting the up throw there, though I was trying to bounce up to the POW, and that was not happening. Oh, I did that too early. The Muncher was not in range. That's the first time I've died to that, I think. Yeah, Supernova makes all kinds of faces. Like Joseph Campbell's Hero of 1,000 Faces. Whoops. Except with maybe a little less Jungian psychoanalysis. Okay. Let's try this again. And yeah, Mang's been, of course, making all kinds of faces just watching me playing this, I'm sure. Disappointed face. Congratulatory face. Cringe face. Naked pipe face. All kinds of faces. Okay, let's do this again. Hardest part of the level coming right up. Let's not get hit by a random high bounce this time. We didn't get hit by a random high bounce. You have to give me some credit for that. Oops. Nope. Missing that once again. That's okay. Plenty of time to recover within the bounds of this auto-scroll speed. There are certain places where it's actually wiser not to get ahead of the auto-scroll too much, in fact. Always the 4th and 5th with the high bounce. Oh, I see. Yeah. I see what you mean. It totally is. I don't know if it cycles around like that. Nope. Overshot. Yeah, it is consistently the 4th and the 5th by the looks of it. Very curious. Something to do with the spawn timing with when the Goombas get refreshed, I guess. In terms of when the limit is cleared. Who knows? Maybe. That's one way it would make sense if they're coming out in sets of 5. I don't know. Maybe not. And yeah, Supernova, that's not bad at all for low-resolution pixel art. And yeah, let's drop this over here. And just try to get back to where we were. I mean, Supernova, it totally makes sense that it would be low resolution pixel art, because if it's high resolution, you would be making that for HD GML. No, I knew the high bounce was coming because that was the 5th Goomba stack, and I jumped on the 4th Goomba stack. Bad idea. I should just never go forward on number 4. Yeah, I just need to not take the 4th set. That is clearly a problem. Okay, here we are. Yeah, most of this tends to run smoothly. Not always. You'd say you didn't know what SD stands for. I remember I suggested to her that it stands for Schubert Doesn't Give Me Love, and I think she agreed at the time. Or at least accepted that as a valid answer, as a valid solution. Oops. Okay, here we are. And yeah, Green Star, this is a fantastic level. That's why I keep going back to it, even though I've cleared it the standard way already. I mean, I'm very curious about what's behind that door. Because I know how interesting some of the optional hard paths in Mang levels tend to be. This one clearly should have room, given that most of the entities are coming out of spawners anyway, and we have only seen... well, we haven't seen checkpoints in it, in fact. Which indicates to me there may be an optional one. As we get into the subworld, which has not been witnessed at all, so... Okay, let's try to get this right. This is only my second attempt at this session today, given how badly I tend to do on this jump. Let's wait this out. I don't know if this has the same stacking issue. Yeah, 4th one, 5th one goes high. There we go. Yeah, because I got sniped by the high bounces last time I was here too. I think that was the issue. Okay, let's get in there before the auto-scroll squeezes me out. Interesting. Oh, I got a fireflower. I probably should have kept one of those. Curious. Yeah, sure, let's do this first. Oh, look at that. Help me. Help me, CC Replays, you're my only hope. Sure, we'll check this. Oh, okay. I wonder if I missed anything. Let's go back. Okay, no, because I saw the yellow blocks there and I was wondering if I could bust through them for anything on the left. Maybe I could have, but... let's go back and maybe just get it clear. So I don't know if I missed anything else in terms of secrets. It's just that when I saw the rotating blocks on the top left, I thought that was worth checking, but I think the camera squeezes me out before I can get anywhere useful with it, so... we can try to do the hammer fight, or we can look at Space Money. I think I'll probably go look at Space Money. Like I said, on the old profile, I don't remember which hard modes I missed. But let's go back to it anyway. And I'll need to also update the code that is provided. I follow too many people. I need to rotate people out at some point. Because I am at cap. I think I am following a full 100 right now. So anyway, I played a good chunk of this, but I was saving Space Bunny 3 because I'd never played 1 and 2. I hadn't gone back that far. So I'm at least going to look at it, even if we don't have many expectations of clearing something that has a clear rate of 0.11. I'm just very curious. Yes, so as you can see, I'm missing most of this stuff from 2019. I think I had played a lot of levels that you deleted, in fact. Let me just swap in the old maker code in the stream title, since this will no longer be mang 69, but just standard old mang. Yeah, I probably won't run this as a super long stream today. Clear rate is because of an obscure mechanic. So yeah, if we learn it, I guess that would also help out with the other ones. Clear condition on this level. Probably something to do with Bone Shell invincibility. This was made right when the game came out, within the first 2 weeks. In July 2019. Let's see what it's all about. Yeah, you would think that most things that were known to people in July 2019 were pretty well circulated at this point. But maybe the clear rate was just tanked early on in the game when people didn't know anything about new mechanics. Oh, I see. No. I know what it is. It's the bounce when you just move forward with the bone shell. Except in low gravity. And so you kind of position yourself and then you need to not hit the blades as you bounce over. Yeah. You do need to pull back a little bit and then just get right up to the blades without getting on them. And then probably... Nope. Maybe I need the dash button to get enough forward momentum though. Let's do the practice pipe, in fact. Just to see what's going on here. Yeah. Yeah, okay, you need to get right up to it. And hold the dash button. Whoops, and not get bounced. So we'll see how time sensitive some of these setups are going to be. Also, I can't seem to go back through this pipe. Oh no, because time is up. Ah, I see, it's very time constrained, in fact. Yeah. Okay. Going to be a bit tricky here. I think I will need to jump out of the bone shell at the end of this bit here. Yeah, I need to go lower on the bone shell and then jump out, I think. No, I need to reach the goal while wearing the bone shell, and I don't see a replacement, so... I actually need to just bounce on top of the last blade. So yeah, it's a series of bounces where you pull back a little bit at the end. And if you do so consistently, you should be able to get over it without too much trouble. I pulled back a little too hard that time, and that's a first two-tile gap. Yeah, so it's going to be a gentle bounce over that, pull back to the left a bit, bounce over to Muncher, and continue. Looks like a very entity-heavy concept, of course, just given the blades. Losing a bit of time there, but I think I need to just get a high bounce there and take advantage of low gravity to loop my way up top. No, I don't need to hold jump on that one. That's for later. Standard bounce on that one is going to be fine, just a minimum bounce. Nope. Minimum bounce. Have to remember that. Of course, wearing the bone shell, the muncher is going to be much less of an issue than usual. Nope. Got a little bit trapped there. Yeah, 30 seconds. What is the record on this? 28 seconds. You do need to be really quite crisp about every jump. Can't really stall for too long, just need to bounce continuously. Nope, missed. Yeah, I need to pull back towards that one. Yeah, I would assume, given the current record on this, despite presumably very few clears, you do need to catch every bounce on the first try. That's going to be the assumption I play under. No, it's going to be a high bounce and then minimum bounce off the second one. There we are. There will be a part that will make me scratch my head. Interesting. Well, let's get over there and see what we can do. But yeah, holding the dash button is necessary here. But nope. Just a little late on holding jump that time on that last bounce, getting me out of the bottom row. Not quite. Alright, back over. Not quite. Just need a much better landing on that last grinder blade on the bottom right. It's a bunny in disguise. Okay. Up we go. Mang trusted you that you would figure out that part. Yeah, we'll get to it and I'll see. I don't mind figuring things out, so. But then, of course, I would need to get back there safely and have enough time to look at it, which is potentially going to be an issue with 30 seconds. That's the limit here. Okay. Not quite. Yeah, kind of a bad start there. We'll clean that up. Yeah, I can sort of tell that the clear rate for this level would be deflated just from it coming out early in the history of this game. Possibly. I know that all three of the Space Bunny levels have some of Mang's lowest clear rates, so. Probably losing too much time there, but we'll try to make this happen. Definitely losing too much time here now. Oh, whoops. Didn't mean to do that. Let's run ahead and see how much is left. I was quite close to timeout there, so we'll see. Yeah, I need to do a fair bit of adjustment as I go. It was under 0.1 before you played it, so you did raise it in a statistically significant manner. Yeah, the timer, even if you do figure this out, I think the timer actually is going to create some issues for the clear rate as well. Because, you know, if you can take all the time you want on this, or up to 500 seconds, is a very different experience, I think, to position all of these bounces individually instead of trying to get all of them on the first try. Yeah. Whoop. Well, timing is going to be an issue here, but I wanted to get ahead to practice a little more. Not quite working out, but we'll see what can be done. This was your first good level. Oh, I don't know. I know you had some of the poison thwomp stuff going on before this one, if I remember it correctly. Oh, and your last. Oh, I don't know about that. I mean, we just played Krem and Kremer in recent memory. Nope. Still having some trouble positioning that one there in terms of pulling back to get the bounce immediately. I am just overshooting since I'm minding my head. Nope. Too far to the left now. Nope. Didn't get the jump. I do need to hold jump, yeah, going into that bounce, but it is going to affect my falling momentum a bit there, of course. And there we go. Yeah, I need to get over the muncher stacks. I think. Oh, did I actually comment on that level? Yeah, I used to... Well, that was before I streamed. I actually used to comment on levels that I enjoyed. Yeah, that would have been on probably one of your earliest ones, right? I probably wasn't even following you at that point, or had any idea who you were. I just came across the level by some means. I don't remember how, but that was definitely before I had a capture card. Because, of course, before I had a capture card, I was playing on handheld most of the time, so it was actually practical to leave text comments on most levels. Ever since I started playing off my docked setup instead, I stopped writing text comments for the most part. Because the keyboard is just much too laborious. Whoops. Now you get to hear me talk about these levels in real time instead. Oh. Yeah, these extra bounces are going to get me into time trouble, as we know from how far behind I was on a clock the one time that we were actually close to timeout. There we go. Much better. Okay, we need to figure out what to do with the muncher stacks over here. Not that. Stream is freezing a bit. Yeah, I see that we just hit a bit of a spike. Hopefully that's not continuing to persist. Judging by the charts that I'm reading on my end, it should have cleared up. But I'll keep an eye on that, and hopefully we don't have too much network disruption or anything else. Yeah, it actually is lagging a bit now, I see. Okay, well, hopefully we can muddle through this. I can't do much about it on my end right now, except just weather the storm. But yeah, it is looking a little bit choppy. Well, that's okay. We'll get some practice attempts in the meantime, and hopefully the footage is clean again by the time I actually make it through. There's a huge cheese in Space Bunny 2. Well, too late to do anything about it now, unless you want to throw everything out of order. Since Space Bunny 3 already came out. Nope, didn't hit jump soon enough here. Yeah, it is spiking like crazy, actually. I don't know what's going on network-wise. But I don't think there's anything I can do other than wait it out. Judging by what I'm seeing right now. If it really becomes an issue, then we'll just cut off for today. But in the meantime, I think it makes more sense to just practice this, and we'll hopefully just get video back in order by the time we have a truly good attempt on something. Oh wow, it's really, really choppy, actually. I don't know where it's coming from either. It's not a network thing, I don't think, or maybe it is. Signal's getting jammed or something. Yeah, Supernova, stop hacking the stream. Whoop. Okay, let's figure this out. Maybe I do need to do a bit of a minimum jump there. Like from grounded? No, that's going to be way too much height. Maybe it's a pound cancel. Yep, that's what it is. Can I only do that once for some reason? No, shouldn't be. I think it is going to be a pound cancel if you want to go nice and low and reposition. I don't know if we have enough time to really do that, but the reason why this particular kind of pound and cancel with the bone shell comes to mind is that I actually just used it on a Grikowski puzzle a few days ago. And so it is very fresh in mind. Morpha says you can only do it if you are high enough above the ground. And welcome, Morpha. Good to see you here. Yeah, Morpha, I don't know if you've had a chance to play this one or any of the other... well, this is not recent. This is one of the oldest Mang levels, but we just went through a lot of the recent ones today, so... Yeah, Morpho, hope the streaming's going well. Been a while since I was able to hop by yours, but I'll have to try to catch that as well. Oops. There we go. Probably losing too much time on that, but... Anyway. There's a bit of a slide there, actually. Like, I had a bit of a forward slide if I attempted to do it that way. And yeah, earlier today we were playing some of the newest levels from Mang's second account, which was recently opened up a few weeks ago. Speaking of which, as much as we make fun of Supernova, I believe Supernova does deserve some special credit here as the patron behind the second account. In terms of redirecting some of those contest winnings, so... Very grateful to Supernova for doing that. And we say that earnestly. Whoops. Okay, up we go. I nearly managed to get a slide all the way over. Huh, I could have probably repositioned myself a little bit. Yeah, if you try to do the pound and cancel, I think... Maybe we can do that. It was from SD's contest, yes. The Yoshi contest with the Yoshis you're not supposed to kill. Okay. Yeah, I believe I do need 2 bounces there. Nope, that's wrong. No, that's going to get me into time issues. That's not going to be it. And Green Star, I'm not going to answer that on his behalf. One moment while I take care of the fact that my bot filtration has somehow been breaking down a bit lately. Let's try to get some of this stuff sorted out. Okay. Now let's... nope, let's not get a high bounce over here. I actually think that for the Muncher segment later, maybe I do need to hold jump a bit during the landing. And have a bit of a floatier landing if I'm able to do so. I think that actually is the trick. Just have a floaty landing to get over to Muncher Stack. I should, in fact, be able to cover enough distance if I do it that way. I'm just testing things out here. I'm blowing a few attempts early on. Also, the video lag issues we were having just a minute ago should have mostly cleared up. I do see it calming down. So hopefully that's true on your end as well as the viewers. That we're not having too many performance issues with the broadcast today. Nope. Okay, I shouldn't have taken the extra bounce there, but we at least have an opportunity to try this. Yeah, it totally is. I'm leaving it at the wrong moment, but if you hold jump after you've left the ground with low bounce. Luca, I do have those filters set up, in fact. I don't know how they've been getting away with some messages slipping through the cracks lately, but I think it is maybe some kind of character alteration in there, like some kind of thing that is evading the string search. But yeah, my bots actually filter things pretty aggressively. Possibly too aggressively. But nope, almost made it over. Almost. Yeah, Morpha, apparently so. Nugukaza is going to request number 154. Let's pull that out. And yeah, Morpha, that's kind of strange. I thought I had that filtered out as a keyword, so. But Nightbot has been failing me in a couple of ways recently, so who knows what's going on with that. Okay, just give me one moment. Nugukaza will pull up the very last one in the set. Under number 154 by William Shakespeare. The little love god, lying once asleep, laid by his side his heart in flaming brand, whilst many nymphs that vowed a chaste life to keep came tripping by, but in her maiden hand the fairest votary took up that fire, which many legions of true hearts had warmed. And so the general of hot desire was sleeping, by a virgin hand disarmed. This brand she quenched in a cool well by, which from love's fire took heat perpetual, growing a bath and healthful remedy for men diseased. But I, my mistress's thrall, came there for cure, and this by that I prove. Love's fire heats water, water cools not love. And yeah, Morpha, that's true. I probably should have a second line of defense in terms of the Twitch filters. I know that there was some kind of interference between my Twitch and Nightbot filters that I might have disabled, but my settings for all of that stuff is a bit of a mess right now, so. Luckily, we didn't get hit too hard with all of the hate raid bots that were taking over Twitch back in September. I mean, I did occasionally have some follower spam here and there, but for the most part, we were clear. And I hope that wasn't too much of a pain for you as well. I know pretty much every Maker streamer was experiencing it in some measure. Whoops. We don't want to get the bounce at the start of the jump, of course. We want to get the bounce once we're in the air. And, yeah, I should probably check my Twitch settings. Just to be clear about that. They booed this level because of a floaty jump above the munchers. That's a very simple adjustment, though. I mean, it's hard to execute, but... Yeah, Luca protests that this is misinformation. Whoa. No. Oh, I wonder how the timing didn't work out with that. I thought it was already in the air, but... And Stinjar, welcome back. Okay, up we go. Nope. Yeah, it's very specific to this design, I think. It's not a hard thing to figure out. I mean... You don't really have that many options. I think from a design perspective, it's hard to enforce that as the only solution or even best solution. There totally is a practice pipe. I didn't think about the muncher stack as part of that practice pipe. Hang on. We actually need to get out of the shell to enter this. I didn't know that the shell couldn't enter the pipe in low gravity like this. But it seems like the shell actually can't enter the pipe, even if you are right up against it. Maybe if you land a certain way next to the pipe. But and yeah, Spirit Wolf, it's going great, actually. We got through everything I intended to get through with the Mang 69 profile, so we're back to some old school material. Okay, this I need to adjust my way around, and as you can see, we already have 0 on the clock, so I'm too slow, even with everything else going on. Yeah, Luca even made a drawing in this one. That hardly counts as a boo, unless you drew a boo, of course. Nope. So, if I'm at 0 seconds at that point in the level already, after playing seemingly fairly cleanly, I wonder where it is I'm losing so much time. Like, maybe the on-off switch. Yeah, it's definitely the on-off switch. It is, whoops, wrong button. Okay, no, that's the one adjustment we needed to make. The on-off switch, you get up there with an immediate jump rather than taking a first bounce, and then you let the shell come up towards you. That I didn't know because I just hadn't seen the shell bouncing back up previously. Since the note block that lets that happen is pretty well hidden down below, as you can see, and I just never paid attention to it. You started working on a new multiple screen puzzle with the SMB2 mushroom. Yeah, looking forward to that, Stinjar. Yeah, SMB2 mushroom, the way they implemented it in this game was an absolute godsend for puzzle makers. Just so many new interactions to play with. Especially with object manipulation. Yeah, Therimon, what you're saying about the crumble detector... I'm trying to visualize how that might happen. Okay. Here we are. No, I needed the immediate bounce, I know that. Immediate bounce up to the on-off block when we have as much height as possible there. Yeah, that's one of the things that's also enforced by the timer, I guess. Without the tight time constraint. My previous method of taking an additional bounce with the bone shell up to the on-off switch would have worked just fine. But here, it will not do. In fact, it helps here to also hold down jump a little bit to sustain height, I think. Nope. Bad positioning right from the start. I can still just play dead and not activate the on-off. Oh, interesting. As a time save. Or... well, let me look at that again and see what's going on. So I'm not exactly sure. Ah, okay. Nope, didn't quite make it over. Let up on the jump button a little bit too early. I think I was holding jump early enough, it's just that I let go before I was completely over to Muncher Stack. I do kind of need to hold into that. Yeah. Okay, forward. Nope. Need to drop down to get that bounce, obviously. And yeah, Theoremon, I was thinking mainly about, you know, the properties of actually being SMB2 Mario, but you're quite right that the behaviors of that mushroom in things like Night Ground are pretty unique as well. And people really did capitalize on the jump detectors right away. For instance. Okay, that's smooth. This I need to probably land directly on top of that blade. Like dead center. You don't even remember why you made this a speed run. It does enforce certain methods. It definitely lowers the clear rate, for sure. But... you know... I think... certainly back in June and July 2019... especially with things like clear conditions, it took a while to really establish what the player base was willing to take and what people would have the patience for. Thank you so much for the follow. Enjoy your work meeting, I guess, as much as you can. I'll hopefully catch one of your streams soon enough, Morpha. So, thanks for dropping by. Whoops. Interesting that even though I feel like I'm off the ground a little bit, I am still getting that jump. Quite by accident. And yeah, Theoremon, that's the thing, that, you know, as much as people... okay, let's just change to Toadette, first of all, for the next attempt. And as much as people tend to burn out on this game or get caught in a rut or anything, as players or as makers, I think it's far from being tapped out. But then I'm very fortunate to have lots of access to the good stuff. In terms of being in contact with a lot of great makers and sources for great levels as well. Toadette is a clearly higher ranking than Mario in this game. It's funny because that's also true of Lecter's animations for 5 and 6YMM, I think. Toadette has a certain seniority there as she's looking at Daisy disapprovingly during the course of the castle construction there, too. Toadette does look more like a bunny, that's true. Nope, need to hold jump into that. But Theoremon, it's kind of interesting that you mentioned the ideas booklet, because I feel like that sort of thematically driven side of Mario Maker was substantially lost with the amiibo costumes going away. That, like, there's a natural synergy between the Mystery Mushroom costumes and some of the very aesthetically minded concepts that you see all over the idea book suggestions. Which, of course, were also in your own idea book parade levels, or level. But it seemed like, you know, with the loss of that kind of flavor, that's definitely people's level output in Mario Maker 2 kind of seems much more functionally minded, so to speak. Whoops. And yeah, Morpha, I think that's certainly true of some styles in particular. That's why I'm not too fond of playing the sort of uber precision stuff, unless there's actually some inventive level design going on. Because there is sometimes some things going on in precision in particular, which is not really adding to the design of the level, perhaps, with any unique ideas, but it's just an extra spike in the corner for the sake of being an extra spike. I need to get that jump immediately to the on-off. And yeah, as I've always said, one of the hardest things to do in Mario Maker, I think, is to make a level that is fun for the people who can't beat it. Like, if you want to make it hard, it's actually often a very good sign to see levels that have very few clears but tons and tons of likes, because you know that a lot of people who didn't finish were still willing to give it a like, which in something like Endless, you really have to go out of your way to do before you've even finished a level, and before you've chosen to hit skip, for instance. But, you know, being able to pull in even random people who find a level who can't clear it but are willing to signal that they had a good time, that's, I think, a very commendable feat. Oh, whoops. No. Wrong takeoff location there, but of course I was set too far back in time. Just from that bone shell behavior earlier. Yeah, that's true. That's sometimes, I mean, I'm not talking about stuff that only gets liked because a famous YouTuber put it up or something. It's very true that, you know, there was a lot of that going on ever since Maker 1 as well. Especially Maker 1, I think. Where there was definitely, and still is, I think, a certain amount of I like this because I watched this person on YouTube going on, but I mean, let's just sort of implicitly exclude that. And yeah, Theoremon, the thing about precision, even though I don't enjoy it very much, is that there clearly is a skill set to it in terms of understanding how to do the lineups and do the levels in a sort of manageable amount of time. Oh, I see what's going on there. That I'm clipping the muncher in the corner, and that's why I'm getting the jump. And yeah, Nugukaza, with stuff like the P-Balloon precision that you send me, you know, at least that's always showing me new kinds of level design, new ideas for putting things together, and including something that you occasionally adapt into easy mode. I find that my issue with a lot of precision levels is that often, you know, there's not much to talk about from a level design perspective. You either get through the lineup into spikes or you don't. But yeah, I can totally respect that, you know, some players have definitely figured out methods for that and enjoy doing that very much. And it's true of many different level types, I think, in Mario Maker, that like there's definitely a dedicated audience for a bit of everything, and I need to rethink this one. because the coin placement is a little bit to the left, and I think that maybe I just need a high bounce going through. I don't need a second bounce there. I just need a high bounce that goes all the way up through that section. Yeah, no, I'm totally misreading the coin trail. The coin trail is not telling me to bounce a certain way. It is giving me a route. Theramon, I don't know if I know what that is, Bombs 5. But I'll have to think about that. Maybe that rings a bell. Nope. Once again, jumping into that too early. Super Duper Alex, welcome, by the way. Okay, get up here. And then you have to jump out of that, drop into the next bone shell, and then hit the flag. 1 second left. Timing is fine, actually. It's just that in low gravity, I don't have a good estimate of when to get out of the bone shell. I should somewhat trust the arrow for that, perhaps. But hey, for point 11, we're doing pretty well. I haven't actually spent that much time on this one. I know. Bad position there, just didn't enter that far enough to the right. And so the first bounce in that section before the Munchers was already a premonition of death. Whoops. Okay, let's try to do this again. And Nugukaza, yeah, I think I know which level you're talking about. Nice to hear that you found a good P-Balloon adaptation of it. I don't think I ever beat that one, in fact. Or rather, I did get the standard route, but I left the level uncleared to signal to myself that I hadn't beaten it the proper way. If you're talking about the Magatoro barrage level with the cannons in Night Airship, massive cannon trail. Bombs 5 is a really difficult Mario Maker 1 Kaizo. Okay, no, that's why I wouldn't know it. Mario Maker 1, I didn't really pay attention to Kaizo outside of like, the really early famous stuff that put Panga's name on the map. You know, the whole P break, U break kind of thing. But I didn't play Kaizo in Mario Maker 1, so I just wasn't aware of that scene. Like I said, I do mean to go back to stream some Mario Maker 1 sometime later this year, possibly in a few weeks. And it's going to be interesting because I will want to go back over the older YMMs, which had contributions by people like Barb before he was as huge a presence as he is now. And I kind of wonder about what the difficulty is going to be like on some of the stuff from that era. Red light, green light level using vertical auto scroll. I mean, I guess given the on-off switches in this game, it would be red light, blue light, but close enough. But red light, green light is a concept, of course. Oddly enough, that makes me think of these mini-game levels that were in Warcraft 3 that had a red light, green light concept, but that was, of course, just, as I've mentioned before, probably the user content scene that it was closest to prior to Mario Maker. And there were some really interesting party arcade concepts that were all over Warcraft 3, and I remember there being like a red light, green light one in particular, where you just have to maneuver your worker through all of these hazards and traps that would have a whole bunch of switch-based triggers attached to them. No. Yeah, you have to get in the air a little bit before that jump. I don't know why the jump timing throws me off so much, but as you can see, I actually am kind of leaving that jump in midair, and that's surprising. Because usually I feel like I'm in the air by that point, but I'm clearly hitting jump too early before I've properly left the ground. I think it's a bit of an edge case of the usual jumping mechanic with both the bone shell and the boot, where because there's a bit of a margin of error to allow you to do a bit of a running jump when you're in the bone shell or the boot without having too many complications. There is a certain margin, I think, when you leave the ground where a jump is still detected as a jump. And the problem is that in the floaty physics that I have here in Night Sky, that's actually kind of interfering with my expectations. Whoops. Buffer jump? Something like that. I don't actually know a term for it that's agreed upon, but it's funny because usually when I'm in regular gravity, there are some issues that I can run into sometimes with getting a running jump with bone shell or the boot, and just not being able to execute it because I'm at the peak of the bounce. But yeah, clearly some kind of adjustment I need to make here. Am I doing the on-off part in the intended way? Yeah, Luca, the reason I'm doing it this way now and jumping directly out of the shell is because I need to save time that way. I'm kind of surprised that you are telling me... I mean, I would guess, Luca, that you must have done it the same way, right? Given that if you were pressing the speed record, I don't see how else you could have done it. Because there are too many time issues otherwise. Okay. I feel like I need to... Yeah, no, it's going to be 3 spaces there. I need to do the same thing as over the... No, it's 4 spaces. I need to get all the way over that muncher. Either I get over to muncher or I need to bounce on the blade. I believe I actually do need to get over to muncher in one clean motion. You ignore the saw with the coin with the float trick. Huh. I'll have to get back there to see what you mean. Oh, I see. So you have a skip in that area. Nope. Once again, jumping too early. Yeah, what a strange interaction. But an understandable one, I think. Just a bit of a clash between how they've implemented low gravity and how they've implemented the correction for jumping out of the shell when it's mid-bounce. Nope, missed a bounce. We're getting close. I really just have that last jump to figure out, and then I know that I'm supposed to jump out into the next shell as it's falling. And we'll catch it up to the flag. Whoops. I mean, this isn't taking me 1,000 attempts, so if I clear it, I will be raising the clear rate, I think. If I clear it. It is likely going to be the last thing I do in this stream, by the way. Space Bunny 2 and 3 will wait for another day, but given that we understand this concept now, I think it's not actually as challenging as I thought it would be from the clear rate. But as we've observed, including in this level, a lot of Meng's clear rates are deflated just by the requirement to learn a mechanic that people might not necessarily know. That was an oddly precise bounce off of the note block on the right side. Unexpectedly safe. Nope. But yeah, if I get that down, I believe my current timing is going to get me to the goal. It's just that final jump where you have to go over 4 tiles. That's going to be a bit of an issue. Okay. Nope, too early on a jump once again. I think I need to wait until my bounce is kind of that full tile above the munchers before I'm absolutely going to be in the clear. Nope. And yeah, I'm still thinking ahead to that final bit with the 4 tile gap that I need to cross with 1 blade plus muncher. That's going to be tight, but thank you for the follow. Yeah, because crossing 4 tiles without some kind of additional bounce... maybe I can get an additional bounce off the last muncher later, but don't know that yet. So I still don't really have a method for the final jump out of this shell before we claim the last shell for the goal pole. Okay. Nope. Once again, too early. I think I just hold jump going into that. Yeah, Luca, it's kind of interesting that our times line up then. I mean, although if you have the current record, if I understand you correctly, that means that your record probably could be improved, couldn't it? If you didn't think about the on-off done this way. Oh, I see. You ignored this coin. Okay, never mind. No, then it lines up, and you can't actually squeeze it down further, I don't think. Or rather, we can't apply both methods at once. It's more that we had 2 different approaches that would still save the same amount of time. Roughly. Yeah, skipping this coin. Okay. Yeah, it took me a while to realize that you meant that coin. Okay, let's do this. Oh, well, nope. Just landed too far to the right that time. Okay, getting closer. Okay. Actually, that is a 4-tile crossing on that second set of 3 munchers. So, yeah, no, that's good. That tells me that the method will work fine for the final area. It's nothing more challenging than what we've seen already, because... Let's see if I can explain it better once I get back to it. Yeah, you see over here, we cross 3 munchers, and then we cross 3 munchers and 1 tile of the blade. So we know how to get a 4-tile crossing, and it's not actually difficult. As long as your entry spacing is somewhat accurate. So with that in mind, I think I can get it clear. Assuming we can mount the next shell accurately. Yeah, it took me a while to understand some of this mechanically, but that's going to help quite a bit going into the other Space Bunny levels, perhaps. There we go. Didn't quite get the top of the flag, but that's okay. We have 0 on the clock, and that's the clear. So yeah, off of Luca's record by about a second. But just in time to actually get the clear in the end. And you can see that, I guess this was back when Mang was not trying to tighten up the speed record on the clear times, because the clear check time was also just slightly under the required 30. Yeah, as far as the speed goes, I mean, the main thing that enforces is that you need to find some shortcut for the on-off, or some direct route. And not too many clears on it, but we managed to join a very exclusive club. And I raised it quite a bit, actually, from 0.11 up to 0.18. That's a pretty substantial bump. So, that worked out. So, another time, we'll take a look at the long-awaited sequel that also has a Luca record and a much higher clear rate, and of course there's a much more recent Space Bunny 3. Let's take a look at the comments, as requested. Usually a good idea anyway, given that Luca has spent a fair bit of time on this level, and even made a bit of a Mang Bunny at the very end. I love how the me expression also has the very wide-eyed look that matches the bunny here. And you played it again too, so you raised it more. Okay, yeah, because Luca, I was thinking I did well, but probably not that well, given how many plays were on it, so I guess you bumped that up quite a bit just from experimenting with it. And no, this guy didn't figure it out. This guy thought it was trolled. Anyway, that's all we have time for today. Glad I got caught up with Mang 69, and having had one look at Space Bunny here, I think things look pretty good for eventually clearing the other two, I hope. As far as the program going forward goes, we have viewer levels planned for tomorrow and the day after. Keep in mind that those of you who are on European time, be it British summertime or Central European summertime, that you folks are coming out of summertime this weekend, and so your schedule is going to be displaced from mine by an hour. That's just for 1 week, because daylight savings globally is going to be a little bit out of sync between different sides of the Atlantic. Thank you so much for dropping by, everybody, and hope you get to enjoy some of these levels in your own right if you haven't already. And yeah, Theoremon, always good to have you coming by to talk more Nintendo. I will be sending you folks on a raid very shortly. But as usual, any kind of scheduling information will be updated on the Discord. And like I said, we'll probably be revising the viewer level schedule once we're in November, but we will worry about that later. I'm going to find somebody, likely another Mario Maker streamer, maybe even somebody with an open queue. But thank you for coming by tonight, and thank you, Mang, especially for dropping by to watch all of your own fantastic creations. I'm very grateful to have them, and once again, also grateful to Supernova for sponsoring the second account. So, thank you for watching. We'll send you on to someone in a moment. And as always, fare thee well.